Hey guys, Jimmy is here. Sorry to interrupt, but if you guys really want to talk about or discuss what I talked about in this video, single player videos or past videos about PUBG or Fortnite, I have a discussion tab in my YouTube thing. You just press it or slide to it, and you can basically direct message me at any time, and I will probably message you back depending on what time it is. But I would love to have some discussions with you guys, see what you guys think, and have some cool conversations. So, without further ado, enjoy the podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Quality Not Included podcast with your host, Jimmy AJL, also known as Adam, joined here today in video form with a much less nasally voice. Hey, you might notice something. My nose has been fixed thanks to surgery. Hallelujah. Yes, I don't sound like a nasally mess anymore, and I probably still slur, but not as bad. And today, for this outstanding podcast, video podcast, I guess you could say, we're talking about single-player games and why they're so much more superior to multiplayer. Now, in a deaf form, multiplayer games are a lot more popular. For reference, PUBG, Fortnite, I always use those two, but, I mean, look at it. Fortnite has a humongous player base. So does PUBG. It's lowering as time goes on, but you know it's still a large player base. Black Ops 4, the beta, I'm pretty sure it did amazing because I see a lot about it on Instagram. Battlefield 4, as you can see, games are slowly progressing to being multiplayer only, and that's a sad, sad thing. Not only is it a cop-out not to make an effort to put a single player in, I understand that now it's a lot more complicated to make single player games because you need actors, you need suits, you need action, you need big old sets. But sometimes you don't need to do that, and The Last of Us is a prime example of that. I don't know what I'm going to label this podcast. Something about The Last of Us, because The Last of Us is the first next generation game I ever played. Well, next generation PS3 wise, but that's where my PS3 is. Yeah, The Last of Us was the first ever game I played on the PS3. It was bundled with my PlayStation 3. And boy, did it spark my interest in video games. I'm glad I didn't get a console that was bundled with Call of Duty. Although I do love Call of Duty with a very, very big heart. I love Call of Duty. I'm glad it wasn't my first, because I grew up playing Call of Duty and it wouldn't have changed anything. But having a game like The Last of Us to play as I started with my next generation gaming experience was amazing. It introduced me to dynamic characters, to plot building, to great cinematics, to just things that Call of Duty games can't do. They've attempted it. They have in Ghost and Advanced Warfare. Although Advanced Warfare is my favorite Call of Duty game because the story was very intricate and it was winding, and it seemed like they made an attempt to make something outstanding. It kind of flopped, but I mean, still. The Last of Us, Mass Effect. I'm trying to think of other games. There's not many out there. Let's see. Telltale games. They make a lot of story-driven games with absolutely no multiplayer. Although The Last of Us has a multiplayer, which I play every once in a while. It's mostly full of professionals now that you can't even progress. But I mostly play games for single player. I think I've already said this in the past podcast. I play games for the single player, not the multiplayer. And when it comes to people saying that, why would you play the single player in this game? Well, why would you say let's play the single player? Well, it's simple. I like feeling connected with the story. Whenever you're playing the multiplayer, you feel no connection at all. You're just shooting at random objects for no reason. But whenever you're playing the campaign, you have a reason, you have a duty, in Call of Duty especially. No, you have a reason to be doing it. They have a plot. They have something that you have to look forward to. But for multiplayer, it's just a new match. And I understand unlocks and weapon upgrades and yeah, whatever. I understand that. That's something to look forward to, but not something that will make you think differently. Before I played The Last of Us, I thought that Call of Duty was the best thing ever, that it was the best game, that I would never stop playing Call of Duty. And then I played The Last of Us, and I learned about Ellie, and I learned about Joel, and they Joel slowly progresses to like and start treating Ellie like a daughter. And Ellie is kind of stubborn at the beginning, but she grows to love Joel. It's the whole, relationship thing over time, and dire times, that type of stuff happens. And it was amazing how the game was plotted, and how it was made. Naughty Dog did amazing things with that. In fact, they did amazing things with Uncharted 1 and 2, which I have played. Uncharted 1 was okay. It was a little older, but I'm not judging it because it's old. It was really good. Uncharted 2, on the other hand, was outstanding. I played it, and there's a reason why I won Game of the Year whenever it came out. I played it, and I wasn't expecting to really enjoy it. But I played Uncharted 1 right before I played it. I binged it like over 2 days, I think. And I was like, okay, Uncharted 1 was okay, and yeah. I played Uncharted 2. Boy, oh boy, did they step up their game for that one. The characters were so dynamic. Everyone had a purpose. They weren't just there to be there. Even the soldiers, the background soldiers, even had dialogue that you can listen to at some points. And they were talking about going home, doing things, going with the family, That's attention to detail that Naughty Dog, that you can't get anywhere else but Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog knows what they're doing. Now, you go into games from DICE or Treyarch, or enemies are just enemies. I mean, the campaigns are really nice, don't get me wrong, but no one has depth, except the main characters. And once you play the game, that's it. But with Naughty Dog games, such as Last of Us and Uncharted, every time you play it, you can find something new. You go up to another soldier, take another approach to some type of mission, and the soldier has another point of dialogue. It's not randomly generated, but it's randomly going on. You can interrupt him, it's just amazing how that works. And a lot of games don't look at that anymore. They see the money in the microtransactions, they see the money in the supply drops, they see the money in the expansion packs, the DLC. For a lot of single player games, yes, they do have DLC too, like The Last of Us. They have Left Behind DLC, which I have yet to purchase, which I do want to purchase. But it expands on the story, it's a legitimate DLC. Call of Duty is just map packs and guns, which really don't get you anywhere. Same with Battlefield. Now, I don't want you to think I'm biased to multiplayer games, because I play multiplayer games like heck. I'll actually show you one that I actually played. Breaking the fourth wall here, ladies and gentlemen. I occasionally play, don't get mad, I occasionally play Paladins, which is an amazing team shooter based off of Overwatch. It's a free-to-play game. I completely suggest that you get it. It's fun, it's fast-paced, it's free. It does have DLC, but it's completely optional. Whoa, excuse me. It's completely optional. And it's fun. That's the most thing. And if you're a Victor main, then screw you, because you're a filthy cheater. So, yes, back to the point. Now, I'm gonna give one game the slip on this, because one game did multiplayer and single player perfectly, and it's not technically the one that I have, not at all. Let's see if I can find it. It's the series itself. Well, two actually. You probably already saw the first one. First one's Halo, not Halo 4. Halo 4 was one of the most hated ones, but Halo in general, and Crysis, especially Crysis 2. Crysis and Halo did something strange. They have multiplayers that were completely optional. Get this, they weren't the main part of the game. Crysis and Halo had outstanding stories up until the fourth one. But Crysis 3, Crysis 1, and Crysis 2 were all amazing graphically and hardwarily, and amazing in both gameplay and graphics. So was Halo. For the time. Now it's kind of, if you play Halo Combat Evolved, it's kind of, well, but they have remastered versions. But get this, as I said, the multiplayer was completely optional. You didn't have to play it. But there's something about the Halo multiplayer that brought people together, and that was that it was fun. It didn't have any microtransactions, didn't have any DLC. There's no possible way it could, because they didn't really have any. Well, they had Xbox Live, but microtransactions were a thing of the future. Oh man, how I wish I grew up with the Xbox original and the PlayStation 2, which I did. I grew up with the PlayStation 2. but I didn't have it. It had the internet thing. Wow, internet access. What's that? Back in the day, I had a PS2 that had an internet port that you plug in. They actually click a little thing into and work as internet. And every once in a while, I'd play like Burnout. I think we had Burnout Revenge on the PS2, which was one of the best games I've ever played up till this day. And it had internet, and it was like EA Connect or something like that. And I was like, oh, I want to play with online people, because I watched YouTube on my phone, but back then they didn't really have, you know, games on the phone like they do today, like PUBG and Fortnite. No, it was more like what was it? It was like those little tile slider games, and they had Tap Tap Revenge, which was one of the best freaking iPhone games I've ever played, which is now off the App Store for obvious reasons of copyright, but still. Yeah, internet was kind of a crazy thing, and you didn't have to have it to have fun. They had local co-op, or couch co-op, if you will. Yes, couch co-op was a crazy thing, and if this sounds familiar to you, this is slightly based off of Nakey Jakey's video, The Death of Couch Co-op. Not really word for word, but I'm putting my thoughts into this, because he was a PS2 boy, he was a PS2 boy too. But, yeah, slightly based off of him. If you want more, you know, understanding on this, go to his video. It's a lot better edited. It's a lot better said. He knows what he's doing. I'm just doing this in my friggin' room. But this is how I feel on it. People didn't have to have the internet back then. You know, it was kind of an optional thing at the moment. Nothing was really based off the internet. Everything was still kind of on paper. Maybe on technology, but not internet-wise. It was more paper on the computer. But it was a thing where you could sit down with your friends and have a fun time. Now you play co-op on any game, and it's just, you know, well, on Battlefield 4, oh wait, on Call of Duty, still multiplayer. On the new Halo game, again, Nakey Jakey, I'm kind of ripping off this guy, but no co-op. It's dying out, and I believe the new Call of Duty game does not have co-op. I believe it. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 does not have co-op, which isn't that strange because they took out the single player, and I was pretty sure I was gonna assume they took out the co-op. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did. I saw a screenshot of the menu. It said multiplayer, zombies, and then they had the blackout mode, which should not be talked about here. Yeah. So, couch co-op. I want a little riff there, but as I said, games can do multiplayer right, and a lot of them don't. Prime example, Battlefield. Or I'm sorry, single player right. I'm sorry. I'm correcting myself here. Battlefield does multiplayer very freaking well. No, single player. Battlefield does horrible single players. Now, strangely, the single player of Battlefield that I like is Battlefield 3 and Hardline, which are two like steppy offish ones. Battlefield Hardline was an attempt to kind of make a campaign like Call of Duty. It still had the Battlefield physics and all that. The Frostbite 3 engine, no, the Frostbite. It was Frostbite 3, I believe. Frostbite 2. No, it was Frostbite 3. I think it's Frostbite 3. Actually, let me check. I have the game right here. Excuse me. Let's just check here. Let's see here. Battlefield. Of course, it's not up front. It's gonna be somewhere back there. Ah, here it is. No, that's Black Ops 3. Give me a sec. How about Battlefield 3 right there? Well, I'll be able to tell this one. If it's not, it's the next one off this one. Let's see here. This one was made on the Frostbite 2. So yes, the Frostbite 3 engine. I believe. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because Battlefield 4 boasted the Frostbite 3. So yeah, Hardline was made on Frostbite 3 engine. And it's beautiful and it's outstanding, but no one liked it because it was kind of weird paced. It was based off of Miami. It was a drug cartel thing. There's a beetle in my room. Hey, how's it going, bud? They're coming through the vent. I'm like in a storage unit on the side of my house. Whatever. Yeah, it was kind of a weird paced game, but I really enjoyed it. That and Battlefield 3. I enjoyed that one. It was stranger in a way, but it was fun. If you played it, you would understand. You had to stop with terrorists and all that. It's kind of like they didn't really want to make it, but they did. You know. It was just kind of like a side thing for them to do. The co-op mode is actually really fun on dang it, on Battlefield 3. The co-op mode is actually really fun. Can you please co-op? I think it's online co-op mode on Battlefield 3. And it's really fun. Me and my friend actually did it a while back. We did the one where you have to be all sneaky. And of course I failed the mission every single time. But yeah. Let's go to Call of Duty. Call of Duty's mostly always had a good single player. I'll kind of scratch out Ghost. I know I defend small games or games that weren't really liked, but Ghost, I have mixed feelings about it. Because it was an attempt to do something new in the Call of Duty genre. Attempt to mimic something. In that case, Battlefield 4. Well, at the time, they came out like right next to each other, so it wasn't really a mimic, but it was trying to mimic what Battlefield 4 would have been. And it was a good attempt. It was. They put a lot of new things in. And I do congratulate Raven and all that, Activision, Ravenware, I believe. Was it? I don't think Sledgehammer Games worked on Ghost. No, they worked on MW3 and Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. But yeah, on to Infinite Warfare. I actually haven't not played the game, but the campaign looks fun. Again, it's kind of going off the Advanced Warfare formula, where they try to make a movie out of a single player. And it's really nice. But back to Ghost. They attempted to make a movie. This is right before Advanced Warfare. This is one game before Advanced Warfare. This was in 2013. I believe, and then Advanced Warfare was 2014, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was 2015, 16 was Infinite Warfare? No, 16. Oh, whatever. It was right after Ghost, nonetheless, and Ghost was kind of like the little brother who or the big brother, who tried to teach the little brother new tricks, but the little brother ended up just learning his own tricks. Advanced Warfare is really stinking fun. If you haven't played it, go pick it up now. And by the way, pick up the Ground Zeroes edition, because if you buy the regular one, you're not going to get Exo Zombies. I really want to play Exo Zombies because it looks really fun. It's like a weird spin on the zombies genre. It looks really freaking fun. But you have to pay for it. Of course you do. It was added after the game as a little bonus. But yeah, surprisingly, I'll have you know, I've played the Advanced Warfare campaign more than, I want to say like 15 times. I've played it a lot. I've completed it on every single difficulty. I've done every single achievement there is, just to have an excuse to replay it. I'm like, oh, I want to get all the intel. I tell myself that, but I really just want to go back and play the game and experience the campaign again, because it's such a good story, and it's such good actors, and it's such good pacing, and it's such good music. The music is really good. It's like pumping, but it's also techno. It's really good. But yeah, back to single player games. We look at Naughty Dog and all that, but then we see the progression, not only with AAA companies, but we see the progression with independent developers. Now, independent developers on Steam, mostly, I'm sorry, my nose just started leaking all of a sudden. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Independent developers tend to make games like Superhot or wow, my brain is completely blank. Superhot, Cluster Truck. I'm trying to think of all the indie games that I know of. NAF, of course, that started off as an indie game and blew up. Let's see here, we have, I think, a lot of things on Gameville too, not only Steam, but in order to save my reputation, I'm not going to name any more games. They are mostly all single player, but there's a strange progression to multiplayer. If you look on there now, it's mostly rip-offs of Battle Royale and Rust, and Ark Survival, Rust, Battle Royale, of course, because it's a big old cash grab right now. But you'll see that, as it progresses, indie games used to be two things: single player and story-based. Now, they're kind of going towards multiplayer, progression-based, which is not two words I like to say together, because that means it's going to be a Battle Royale, or a survival game. Yeah, or both. Have you seen that new game that's like both Battle Royale and Survival? It's pretty neat. It's a good mix, but I'm pretty sure right after that one comes out, it's going to be ripped off by 18 other games. But yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, as I said before, I do not hate multiplayer games. I do not hate many things. I love multiplayer games, I really do. The ones that do it right and that do it professionally, not just try to sell everything. Perchance, Paladins, everything's optional. Now, you do have to buy heroes, but they gotta make money, it's a free game. So, Team Fortress 2 did it outstandingly, and Overwatch kinda not copied, but got inspiration from it. They said it themselves, you can look it up. Someone contacted the developers of Overwatch and asked them why their game was so much like TF2, and they said they did have a lot of inspiration from TF2. And Valve has done amazing things. Again, here we go. Valve has done amazing things, but they're slowly digressing in their video game making. I've played Portal 2. That game scared the heck out of me. Portal 2 is one of the grittiest single-player games you will play. Even though it's very jokey, it's dark. You'll feel alone while playing it, which is a main thing. You're supposed to feel like you're a lab rat, and it surely does. Then you got games like Left 4 Dead, which is a multiplayer. There you go, a single. Let me get close to you for this. It's a single player, multiplayer, at the same time. It's campaign based, but it's a multiplayer based. See what they did there? They did it right. They put a single player in the multiplayer with a campaign and everything. You can play by yourself with AI. You can play by yourself completely alone. Why would you do that? You're dead. Or you can play with a multitude of people. And I have had some of the best memories playing with randos on Steam on Left 4 Dead 2. Now, we move on to games like Half-Life. Again, story-driven, not much multiplayer. Gary's Mod, not story-driven at all, but it is completely free to do whatever the heck you want in that game. And I played a sliver of it on, I forgot where, but it was somewhere. Someone downloaded it and I played it. It was really fun. It was like 5 minutes, but still. Now we're moving on to other things that Steam does. Steam sells games now. Yeah, they don't really do any more video game related things, but they mostly sell games. And, okay, they're making money, but come on. I never really grew up that fond of Valve or Steam because I didn't really grow up with computer. I grew up with console. I grew up with PS2 and the Wii, and some handheld devices as the Game Boy and DS. That was my childhood. I grew up as the Nintendo console kid. A lot of people grew up with computers like DOS or other forms of computer. The first computer I had was a Windows XP Gateway, which was amazing. It actually ran pretty good. If it could run TF2. Strangely, it could run TF2. A Windows XP machine could run TF2. I don't know how, but it could. And then I got this Asus computer from a friend who didn't want it anymore, which was a gaming computer. Couldn't run TF2 for the life of it. Turn everything on low, couldn't handle it. It was a gaming computer. Couldn't handle it. Yeah, so, yeah. Valve kind of is going down the ladder. And every other company is, except for one, which is strange. It's Naughty Dog. Hasn't given in the towel yet. With the release of The Last of Us Part 2, don't say it wrong or you will get banned from the community. The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog is putting 110%. I am keeping up with this game. I won't be able to play it, probably. Maybe I will, actually. I probably will. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But, with the release of this game, you can see that Naughty Dog is not giving up. Even though the world's going to multiplayer-only games, Naughty Dog's saying, heck no, we're staying with this. This is our bread and butter. It's going to be amazing to see what they're going to do after this, too. It's not just The Last of Us Part 2 that's going to be amazing. But, again, everything has an end, so the Naughty Dog may start, giving a little slack, to the multiplayer. I don't know what The Last of Us 2 multiplayer is going to be like, but knowing Naughty Dog, it'll be good. It won't be microtransaction, but with the way the world's going today with the multiplayer games and all that, they might start giving the towel soon, but we'll see. That's in the future. But nevertheless, thank you guys for listening and watching. If you're listening to this without video, then thank you, I guess. If you're watching this with video, hey, you got to see me rolling around in the chair the whole video. And you got to see this crappy screen right here that's out of focus. But whatever, I thought it'd be a good background. Thank you, Shadow, for joining me. Thank you for joining me. This light is like 100 degrees on my face right now. It's really hot. So I'm gonna quit this video, I'm gonna edit it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Quality Not Included podcast, episode 4. Woo!